I never expected grief to make me a liar. 3 weeks after my grandmother passed away, I started spending every Saturday in her apartment because the silence at home felt unbearable. The neighbors all knew me as the granddaughter, but when they asked why I kept coming back, I smiled and said I was staying there until the place sold. That was only half true. I was really chasing the feeling that she might still walk out of the kitchen with warm tea and tell me everything would be okay. Across the hallway lived a quiet man named Noah. He always carried groceries for the older residents, fixed broken light bulbs without being asked, and disappeared before anyone could thank him. We exchanged polite smiles for weeks, nothing more. Then one rainy afternoon, the ancient elevator stopped between floors with both of us trapped inside. I laughed to hide my panic. He looked at me, smiled for the first time, and said, "Guess we're finally going to have a real conversation." The elevator finally lurched back to life nearly 40 minutes later, but by then the awkward silence between us had vanished. Noah admitted he hated small spaces, and I confessed I had almost pressed every emergency button twice. We laughed the entire walk back upstairs. After that day, seeing each other became routine. We'd share coffee on the fire escape, complain about the stubborn radiator, and wave at neighbors who assumed we'd known each other for years. He never asked why I kept coming back every weekend, and I never asked why he seemed to know everyone's favorite groceries by heart. One Saturday, Mrs. Alvarez from downstairs smiled at us and said, "Your grandmother always hoped you two would meet someday." My heart skipped. I had never mentioned Noah to Grandma, and as far as I knew, they had never crossed paths. Noah's smile faded for just a second before he quietly changed the subject, leaving me wondering what he wasn't telling me at all. Mrs. Alvarez's comment stayed with me all week. The next Saturday, curiosity finally got the better of me. While Noah helped Mr. Jenkins carry boxes downstairs, I asked Mrs. Alvarez what she had meant. She looked surprised. "You didn't know?" she asked softly. "That young man visited your grandmother every Sunday afternoon." I stared at her, convinced she'd mistaken him for someone else. Grandma had never mentioned Noah, not once. When he returned, I almost confronted him, but the words refused to come. Instead, we spent the afternoon repainting the worn benches in the courtyard, joking about our terrible brushstrokes. As the sun set, he handed me an old photograph he'd found tucked beneath the bench. It showed my grandmother smiling beside a much younger Noah, both holding slices of birthday cake. My chest tightened. He looked away and whispered, "I was hoping you'd never have to find out like this." I couldn't speak for several seconds. Noah finally told me everything. Years ago, after losing his mother, he had wandered into the building on a rainy afternoon, and my grandmother had invited him inside for tea. That one visit became a Sunday tradition. She listened when he struggled, celebrated every promotion, and reminded him he never had to face life alone. She hadn't hidden him from me out of secrecy. She simply believed we'd meet when the time was right. Before she passed away, she made him promise to keep checking on the neighbors until the apartment was sold. I laughed through my tears because she'd been matchmaking without either of us knowing. A month later, I handed over the apartment keys for the last time. As we walked away, Noah reached for my hand and smiled. "Your grandmother gave me a family once," he said. "Think she'd mind if I asked to stay in it forever?" I answered by kissing him, and somehow, home found me again.